Welcome, Animas, to the Moon Report. I am your community officer, Ilona Pamplona, and I am substituting for the month of October for our in-house astrology goddess and moon astrologer, Marlene, our modern mystic, who is enjoying all the benefits of being away for her nuptials. And I get to navigate you through the juicy season of the eclipses. So the last time we congregated in this beautiful space, we were talking about the Libra eclipse, and it was a solar eclipse. Solar is the sun. It's associated to the new moon. And we were really talking about all the things that rob us of our peace. So as, and that's the front end. The front end of the eclipse was the solar eclipse in Libra, which is, hey, what's robbing us of our peace? And we were observing that the opposite of it was Chiron in Aries, which is healing will happen through conflict. And what the solar eclipse was highlighting was where we were robbing ourselves of our peace. And now we have the lunar eclipse. So let's come to talk about the deconstruction of what a lunar eclipse is. So lunar, the moon in traditional astrology is our emotional landscape, our subconscious, what's not on the surface. It is a luminary. Sun and the moon are the two luminaries of a chart, the things that cast light. So the sun is like putting the spotlight right on it. And the moon is kind of like this shadow light, like, okay, what's behind the scenes? What's the light behind the scenes? That's why it's the subconscious energy, not the conscious energy. But the lunar eclipse are also associated with the full moon. So the new moons are solar, full moons are lunar eclipse when it comes to astrology and how the eclipse will play out. By the way, I'm going to pin myself for the recording for now, and then I'll move on. Now, so we have this lunar eclipse. The moon, our emotions, our subconscious is being impacted by this eclipse where the sun is in this space where it's kind of hiding its light. And why this is important is because ultimately what eclipse actually do is they give us a shadow work. It's the eclipse season is our shadow work season. It's our homework. It's like saying from the universe and from the stars saying, hey, what are you not paying attention to? What are you not willing to let go of? Where are you holding on to something for longer than you should? Now, the interesting thing is that this eclipse is hitting us in Taurus, and our CEO, Jamie, who is a Taurus stellium, she has several Taurus placements. Jamie, you're probably feeling this interestingly, depending on how your chart plays out, as Jamie nods and says yes. And so as a reminder, when we're looking at a chart, we have all of the signs in us. I'm going to say that again. If you're looking at your chart, we have all of the signs in us. When you're looking at the circular chart and you look at the periphery, that is all of the signs. We have all of them. We don't have planets in our natal chart there all the time. But the transits will then have guest stars. So if you have nothing in Taurus in your chart, so if you're looking at your chart and you see nothing with the symbol of the Taurus, like any planets around there, you will feel the energy of Taurus when we have transits like this. And what I want to bring to light is, what does Taurus mean? What are all the dimensions that this Taurus eclipse is going to be shaking us up? Where is the shadow work get to happen? So first I want to talk about the mythology. There are two mythologies behind, or thoughts of what the mythology of Taurus is. The first one is Zeus, the literal god. So and it's not the most favorable one. It's the sense of Zeus fell in love with Europa, and he was like, I need to woo this woman. And he became a bull because she was always in the field with the bulls. And she's like, oh, that's a very handsome bull. And she's like, I'm going to sit on him and hang out. And he's like, I got her, ran away, and made her his wife. And so there's this seduction. There's often an interesting correlation to Taurus and being sensual and seductive. And it's, I would assume it's this Taurus, Zeus stealing of Europa that's involved in it. But what is the most most correlative to the Taurus archetype for me is actually the story and the mythology of Persephone. And I'm curious to see in the chats if any of you know about Persephone. Persephone is the goddess, daughter of Demeter, who was basically wooed by Hades to live half of the year in the underworld and half of the year on land. And what would happen is that when one day Persephone's like planting flowers, because she was all about like the land and beauty and flowers, she was seeing this bull trample the flowers and like just quietly like being like on the surface trampling things. And she's like, yo, what's up? What are you doing? And he just kind of looked at her like, I don't know who you are. I'm not going to work with you. And she very patiently cultivated a connection with Ceres, the bull. And slowly but surely, she kind of gained his confidence, gained his trust. She calmed his nervous system down. She wasn't like, hey, you should be my friend right now, or hey, I'm going to do this right now. It was very much the sense of taking our time to cultivate something. And so we talked about Aries last month and how there's a lot of rushing into things. Aries is fast, quick fire energy. This tells us about that Taurus energy, the slow down. Often you'll hear about Taurus as you need to slow down, you need to take it slow, you need to kind of take your time. And so right now, this eclipse, the first thing it's saying is, where do you emotionally get to slow the F down? As I see Katie laughing in the in the Zoom. Where are you all rushing into things instead of giving yourself the time that you need to cultivate the exact environment that is going to foster your trust and the trust with whatever you're cultivating in this moment? And so as we navigate tomorrow's eclipse, I want you to ask yourself, so if last month we were saying, where am I robbing myself of peace? This month, this part of the month's eclipse is, where am I not giving myself time? Where am I being impatient? Yeah. Hashtag, I feel like some of y'all are being, I see the faces. And so the other thing is, she made him feel safe. Persephone taking her time to cultivate that relationship with Ceres instead of like jumping on him and grabbing the bull by the horns. Oh, it's 1:11 in Mountain Time, right? So where are you trying to grab the bull by the horns and be like, do it now, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to make sure that we get to work together, and I'm going to cultivate the time needed to reap the rewards, which also means where in your life are you not being patient? The other thing is the ultimate reward of the relationship between Persephone and Ceres is that, first of all, he took his time to cultivate a friendship. So if you've ever had a Taurus friend, I had a Taurus ex of 15 years. He took his sweet ass time to figure out what we were going to do and what we were going to be. So relationships with Taurus, the time with Taurus is about really feeling safe, creating the time and space to feel safe. This is why also Taurus is related to the sense of safety, the sense of security, the sense of grounding, the sense of like also being in the earth, right? Because Persephone split her time between the underworld and the earth. And so Taurus is her time on the earth. Whereas the opposite, we always learn from the sign by also understanding the opposite. The opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. Scorpio is the underworld. It's the hidden. It's the secrets. It's the esoteric. This is also a moment of like, where are you trying where are you going too deep to figure things out, and just seeing what's on the surface, like what's on top, what is right here, right now for me to work on? Where are you trying too hard to figure something out? Where are you trying to find the secrets and the shadows instead of the reality and the in the moment presence, the embodiment? Taurus often also represents embodiment. They call Taurus placements often as sensual because the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio, which is related to the sexual organs, which is sexual, but it's not sensual because of the sexy time. It is the physical senses. What can you smell to calm yourself down? What can you eat to calm yourself down? What can you look at to calm yourself down? What can you listen to calm yourself down? How can you use your physical senses? Or where are you ignoring the cues from the physical senses to tell you where you're not slowing down, where you're not being patient? And so I think it's really important that we give ourselves a lot of self-compassion and breaks for this eclipse. This is not a all systems go moment. This is a surrender. And I know a lot of people who hate the idea of Taurus being represented with naps and breaks, but I also figured out why. Because what would happen is that when Persephone would come out of the underworld to get back on Earth, the first thing she would do is she would hang out with her best bud Ceres, and she would take a nap to restore from being in the density of the shadow. So this is also a call to rest. I'm going to say that again. This is a call to rest. Where are you not giving yourself a break? Where are you not allowing rest to restore you? Right? You don't have to effort it all. And there's also like the sense of support, right? Because Taurus is supporting Persephone, Persephone is supporting Taurus. Another thing that comes out, why is this triggering me so much? Girl, because it's Taurus and you're a super Taurus. That's why. But it is, and I also want to, bring something into the space that is not necessarily related to the moon, but the season that we're in. From now until New Year's Eve, we've got Jupiter in retrograde in Taurus. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, fortune, and good luck. I'm going to say that again. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, fortune, good luck, and it's going backwards, which means it's contracting. Now, people think that's a bad thing. Retrogrades are not contraction. They're observation and reflection periods. And with Taurus being, oh, by the way, you also hear a lot that Taurus be related to money because it's ruled by Venus, which is actually the planet of money and values and investment. And so with Jupiter from now until New Year's Eve being retrograde in Taurus and the moon in this eclipse being in Taurus, this is a huge call to not you can't expand, y'all. I know, like when I tell you in the past 3 days, I've gotten maybe 10 calls from past clients on like, what in the world is happening in the world? It's this combination. We're being asked to slow it down. Everyone is freaking out. And then the opposite reaction is, okay, I need to do something to fix it. But what if the solution was actually to rest and surrender and trust that the universe is working with you? Our immediate sympathetic nervous system in times of need, especially financial needs or emotional needs, is I need to do something. I need to move this out. But what if rest is the answer and what Taurus is asking you to lean into and trust? Because here's the other thing about eclipses. Eclipses, we can't do anything to stop it. I actually have a client who called me this morning and she's like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is happening at work, but I'm at this conference and I have to do this and why can't I? This Taurus eclipse is hitting her in her house of career and reputation, literally. So here she is, it's like, I have to do something to fix this reputation. Girl, it's already happening. You can't do anything. Your job is to trust yourself. So the ultimate thing, so if what we get to embody, what we get to, reveal after this eclipse is the major gift of Taurus, which is its sturdiness. Persephone relied on the sturdiness, the stability, the grounding, the literal physical grounding that Taurus provided her every season when she came back up from Hades, which was very dense, unpredictable energy. I'm going to ask you to create routines to ground you. I want you to make a list. If I were to give you homework, your first homework is to rest and surrender, because you cannot escape what's happening in eclipse. It's going to happen to you, whether you want it or not. The thing is, if you surrender and trust the universe is working in your highest good, you're going to actually enjoy the results. If you try to fight it, you're going to be kicking and screaming. And then you're going to be like, oh, that was awesome. But you didn't have to do kicking and screaming the whole way there, right? And so the second thing so the first thing is surrender to the rest. And second thing that I want you to lean into is I want you to lean into the routines, the cultivation of practices that will make you feel strong and sturdy. And I'm going to remind you that because Taurus is the senses, maybe it is a sensorial experience. Maybe you need to put on your favorite fuzzy sweater. Maybe you need to make your most nourishing, comforting meal. Maybe you need to put on a playlist that is going to give you the exact energy to make you feel safe in the moment that you're experiencing the eclipse. Maybe you need to watch the movie that makes you feel like you can get out there and kick butt once this eclipse is over. It is not about this results-oriented action. And it's also, another thing that I want you to really think about is we talked about the cultivation. this season between the moon and this eclipse in Scorpio and Jupiter being retrograde in Scorpio, in Taurus until the end of the year, you get to figure out with this eclipse, what do you need? What routines do you need to set in place now to bring you the success, the harvest that you want when all of this is moving forward and easily again? This is not shaking us up to kick us in the tushy. This is shaking us up to see what is in the gap. What are we not seeing? And it's really interesting too, because the opposite, where Taurus right now is, it's opposite the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio. Mercury is how we think. Our, type in the chat box if like you are thinking nonstop. All you can do is think. Because Mercury in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio is the mindset of like digging deep, like getting lost in rabbit holes, like not being able to stop and saying, where else can I go with this? And Taurus is like, y'all, I need a nap. Are you going to give me a nap? Like, are you going to give me a break? Are you going to help me feel safe? Your thoughts, your lingering thoughts of Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio could activate your nervous system. If you find your nervous system activated, my invitation is you're here to say, okay, my nervous system is activated. What do I need to do to relax it? Where do I get to rest? Where do I get to tap into the physical realm again, right? Because nervous system activation is mental. I'm going to say that again. Nervous system activation typically is mental. Most of us are blessed enough that our nervous system is not actually being activated by a bear assaulting us or actually something bad physically happening to us in the moment. It is the thought of, what if I don't have money? What if I don't get that client? What if I don't succeed? That thought and the rabbit hole of that thought is activating you from a deep subconscious level. And what this season is calling us is like, be here now. Where are you right now? What's happening right now? I want you to activate your senses. I want you to be in the moment. I want you to cultivate the routines that are going to help you do steady and steady. Another thing, even though Taurus is the bull, it's very much slow and steady wins a race, like the tortoise and the hare. In the fable of the tortoise and the hare, the hare is Aries, like let's run. And the tortoise is Taurus. I'm going to take one step at a time and I will make it to the finish line. I'm like standing up to say, you are going to make it to the finish line, y'all. And you get to pace yourself. You get to pace yourself in this process. You do not have to rush yourself to the finish line. I invite you that you do not, if I want you to make a list of all the things you're rushing yourself to do, and then giving yourself something that you get to do to calm it down or slow it down. Do you need someone to help you? Do you need to just stop and come back later? Do you need to just say, what do I need to do right now today? I also know, by the way, like I've been writing this book and there are days where I'm like, I'm going to write all day from night after night. Y'all, sometimes that like sprint is not going to work. Sometimes it's like, hey, I'm going to do 2 hours and then I'm going to go for a walk and then I'm going to do another 2 hours and then I'm going to eat and then I'm going to do another 2 hours and then take a nap. And when you can pace yourself in this way, you're actually going to allow this eclipse season to give you it's actually so you don't crash and burn, and so that you can actually feel like the eclipse is a gift of your blind spot rather than the triggering of your blind spot, right? It could be very triggering. It could be very shocking because eclipses are shocking. And so if you have your birth chart and you know where at 5 degrees Taurus falls in your chart, we can give some in-depth things, but I'm going to give a highlight, by the way, for the recording, and then I'll stop and give the individual personal interpretations to the community. But so if you've got the eclipse Taurus in the first, so if we're looking at this as like, where do I get to slow down? Where do I get to just be here now? Where do I get to be in the moment? Where do I get to cultivate routines? If you have Taurus in the first house, it's with yourself. You get to be patient with yourself. If you have Taurus in the second house, you get to be patient with your finances. It's coming, but it's revealing what's going to happen for you. Yeah, I see, Jen. Yeah. If you have Taurus, this eclipse in Taurus in the third house, is you get to be patient with your thoughts. with the way you think or the words that you're saying. Like you don't have to like speak immediately. You get to maybe think before you speak kind of energy. If you have Taurus in the 4th house, you get to be patient with your family or with your intuition or with your mother. I won't say it out loud. I don't know who has Taurus here in their 4th house, but you get to be patient with your mama. If you have Taurus in the 5th house, you get to be patient with your creativity and with the things you're passionate about. It's saying, hey, you don't have to rush into the things you're passionate about. What if you actually took time to cultivate your passions and see where it takes you rather than jumping in and having a whirlwind romance, maybe literally with someone or with the things and the creative projects you want to do. If you have Taurus in the 6th house, maybe you get to be really patient and cultivate some routines around your health. If you have Taurus in the 7th house, you get to cultivate patience and really take your time with relationships. You don't have to rush at that person or that business partnership. You can take your time and see what you get to reap as a harvest when you take your time and make it good. Ooh, Taurus in the 8th house is interesting because it's the opposite. So the 2nd house is ruled by Taurus. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. So there's this kind of like opposite energy, but you get to cultivate patience with anything that needs to change, transformation, things that get to be like reborn, dead and reborn kind of energy. If you have Taurus in the 9th house for this eclipse, you get to cultivate patience with what you know to be true. Maybe you're doubting yourself. Maybe you're doubting what you know to be true. If you have Taurus in the 10th house, you get to be patient with your career and reputation. If you're trying to rush things to be known for something, give yourself time. Things will open up after this eclipse and after Jupiter goes direct in the new year, because Jupiter's in Taurus through May, but retrograde until New Year's Eve. If you have Taurus in the 11th house, you get to be patient with your community, the people that you belong to, the groups of people, also with your hopes and dreams. And if you have Taurus in the 12th house, you get to be patient with karma, like things like coming to a karmic ending, karma taking, doing what it has to do. You also get to be patient with creative endeavors, like actual creativity. Maybe you even get to be patient with spirit. Some of you may be in a relationship with a spiritual power of your understanding, and you're trying to rush the results. I see, Betsy, you say, I have Taurus in my house. Which house? My husband. Yeah. My husband's a Taurus. Your husband is going to need a lot of patience, Betsy. That's for sure. I see Taurus in my house. I don't know which is it your house of houses, like your 4th house? Because of that. If not, that's your mama's house or your family house. That would make sense. But anyway, all of the houses have a theme, and it tells us where the eclipse are going to be showing up when it comes to these themes of taking your time, cultivating, feeling sturdy. By the way, this also means you get to be sturdy. If you have Taurus in the 1st house, you get to be, feel stable for yourself. If you have Taurus in the 2nd house, I see you, Jen, you get to say, where do I get to be really rock solidly stable in myself for this money? If you have, et cetera, et cetera. So we've gone through the themes, so you can go back to the replay and see all the houses. But this is saying, yes, I get to cultivate this patience so that I can feel rock solid, bull, stable, nothing movable, unshakable. Like my house, just my house. I don't know where astrologically I have Taurus. Okay, I might when we're done with the recording, I'll see where we'll find it. So this is it, my friends. Eclipses or shakeups. We've gone through it. First of all, also tomorrow or Sunday morning, I want you all to give yourself some kind of kudos for making it through this eclipse season. It's been eclipsing. Eclipse season has been eclipsing for real. And so y'all get to really celebrate that you made it through this, that you came here and showed up for yourself, that you didn't let it keep you from doing the things you had to do. But also I want to really make sure that you rest and you celebrate having gone through this season. That's all I have for now. I don't know when I'll be back, since our resident astrologer will be back next month, but it has been an honor to support you, take care of you in this process. If you're watching the replay or on YouTube and you're not part of Anima Collective, we are a community of self-identifying women who are here where soul development and entrepreneurship meet. We use these tools to build our personal brands as well as our business brands and our personal lives. And I cannot wait to see what all of you create with this cultivation of patience to create that stability in yourself. And with that, I will sign off.